Hey, what's going on, guys? Addison Molina here with some more quality Pixel Tamer content. Make sure to smash that like button or Zapdos is going to cause a power outage in your neighborhood, and you won't have power for the next 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks without Pixel Tamers, and no one wants that, so make sure you smash that like button. But without further ado, let's get into our next PokeProfile. Today's PokeProfile was requested from the one, the only, Death Reaper. He asked if I could do a profile on Zapdos because, quote-unquote, he's useless. We're going to go through him and see if he is truly useless or not. A little bit of background, Zapdos is one of the easier legendaries to acquire, in my opinion, usually through Super Gacha or by spending some gems and getting shards. All of the legendary birds have this ability to be acquired, not required, but personally, Zapdos does find its spot on my current team, although I am going to be replacing him soon. Let's talk about his stats, why he's on my team, and if Zapdos is even good. Let's go and start with Zapdos' base. Zapdos has a total base of 640 with 100 HP, 90 physical attack, 150 special attack, 100 special defense, 120 physical defense, and 120 speed. Zapdos has 5 different base stat totals that either equal or exceed 100, and that's a very solid wow, I cannot talk. A very solid legendary that kind of is a jack of all stats, especially that 150 special attack. That's nothing to mess with. If we look at his ability though, Charge, Zapdos can really do some damage here. Zapdos' ability Charge increases its critical by 32%, and each critical hit deals true damage by 14% of its special attack. Because of Zapdos' high special attack, it does even crazier amounts of damage when it does crit. Relating to other profiles we've done, this increase in crit change is much higher than normal. If we move on to its move pool though, Zapdos has multiple decent moves to use, the first one being Thunder Shock. This deals 110 at base and has a 15% chance of paralyzing the target for 2 rounds. Paralyzation is great even though it does have a low chance of happening. If we move on to Charge, this is a move that you probably will not use. This does increase its special attack by 20% and special defense by 10% for 3 rounds. I personally don't find this useful, especially when I'm doing auto fights, because Zapdos will spam this move since it's really cheap at only 25 SP. If we move on to its third move, Thunder, it's fantastic, especially for teams that spam status effects and interruptions. Thunder hits 2 enemy units and has a 45% chance of paralyzing them for 2 rounds, also while dealing 80 damage. This move has helped me on numerous occasions because of that paralyzing chance, especially at 45%. If we move on to the final move though, we got Mimic. This move is pretty interesting for Zapdos because it steals 60 SP from an enemy unit for its own. It's an SP absorb. It's quite useful and powerful to make sure that an enemy unit in particular can never use its moves, like stealing SP from a Mewtwo, so that it can't use Psychic or any of its moves. Zapdos is a decent Pokemon for stealing SP, although it does only target one Pokemon at a time, which I feel is like its major downside. Instead of stealing mass amounts of SP from, smaller amounts of SP from the entire team, making sure that they can't use all the moves that they need to, you're only stealing a lot from one, so just keep that in mind. Going on to Zapdos' Awakening moves, this is probably the most disappointing aspect of Zapdos. Howling Hurricane is basically just a vanilla hit that hits 4 units. And Mega Electric Storm hits 4 units, but still only has a 25% chance of paralyzing them for 2 rounds. Not 4 rounds, that'd be crazy. That's half as often as Thunder, but it does do 15 more damage. So go in and pick your poison with these and use them with caution, because if these Awakening moves do come up, you can't use anything else. So let's go into the passive abilities though, and these are a lot better than the moves that Zapdos gets. So starting with Electric Armor, it has a chance to paralyze the attacker when attacked. It's kind of like Kyogre with its ability with the chance to freeze for a round. I think it's a really clutch ability and something that your opponent's always going to have in mind when attacking a group, because there's always going to be that small chance that they're going to get paralyzed in the process. And if you look at its other ability, Growl, get an extra 10% crit chance. that really plays off well with its main ability, because with your main ability will have a 42% chance to crit, and that's just base. That's without friendship increases, and that's without any items that you could equip to Zapdos. Actually, now that we're talking about with items, actually, you know what, we'll talk about that in a second. Let's move on to Divine Zapdos though first. So if you do have the items to evolve Zapdos to Divine Zapdos, you will get an increase in 160 base. That includes a 40 increase in HP, a very useless increase in physical attack by 30, 30 in special attack, 20 in special defense, and 40 in speed. Nothing else changes to Zapdos by getting to Divine Zapdos besides this base increase. The ability stays the same, the awaken ability stays the same, the passive ability stays the same. Nothing changes. He doesn't get any moves either. So, with that being said, you have to find ways to make Zapdos more powerful besides just the base. So things that I would focus on to make Zapdos as powerful as possible would be to have Zapdos' special attack IV as high as reasonably possible for you. This is probably the most important stat for Zapdos because all of his abilities focus around that special attack. I mean, now granted, have your other IVs pretty up there too, but make sure that he has some survivability but does mainly damage. That's what Zapdos does. Also, as far as items go, I would equip items like Razor Claw, Grip Claw, and Berserk Gene to increase his critical chance and critical damage. I would also equip items that increase special attack like Electric Seeds. In my opinion, Zapdos isn't awful, but it's not great. But if you have one, I would continue to use it on your team unless you have a very clear substitute for it. If you have base Zapdos, I'd still give it a chance after you equip it with the items that we talked about that really help it do its job. But that's going to be it for this Zapdos Poke Profile. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and leave a comment down below, or hit the like button. Either way. If you have any recommendations for Pokemon you would like to see in future Poke Profiles, make sure to leave a suggestion in the comments as well. As always, I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. Your support's been awesome. We've gotten a bunch of subscribers this month, and we've had a couple of videos go over 100 views this week, which I think is really awesome. So, I love you all, and take care, guys.